Today I'm going to share with you my 7 favorite knitting and crochet books. I have set out some of my other knitting and crochet books, and I recently did a complete declutter of my apartment. So what I'm left with is a curated collection of just ones that bring me the most joy. All right, let's just dive right in. I'm going to start out strong with what is probably my absolute favorite knitting book in my entire collection. I probably should have buried this down further in the list, but I don't care. This book is called Knit This. It is written by Veronika Lindberg, also known as Kutovakika. She has an Instagram and a YouTube channel, and I have been following her since I think 2018. And back then she used to post primarily about photography and then switched her focus over to knitting about, I think, a year and a half ago already. And since then, she has just been amazing in the world of designing knitwear. She has released some fantastic patterns that I have absolutely loved. Of all my knitting books, this one I have knit the most objects from and plan to knit pretty much everything in this book. There is not a single pattern in here that I'm like, I don't know if I need this. Every single one, I'm like, I need this in my wardrobe. I absolutely need this. She will take what is a pretty simple item and she'll add something to it that helps you grow your skills and challenge yourself as a knitter. I want to highlight some of my favorite patterns in this book, and the first one that I want to talk about is the Dirty Caramel Sweater. This is the showstopper pattern. She has a YouTube video where she talks about making this and goes through the process of designing this sweater, and I love it. The Smart Heart socks are my go-to sock pattern now. I have made 3 of these and I will continue making them. It's really hard for me to gear up to make other socks when I know how much I love these. The Honey Cardigan. Not only is this beautiful for spring, I mean, just imagine styling this over like a sundress or something. Ugh, it's so unique in the fact that it has buttons that have been crocheted using the same yarn as the rest of the cardigan, and the overall effect that it gives is just stunning. She has a full tutorial for how to do this in the book, and she does it around hard buttons, so it gives a really nice button structure and it's not floppy like a lot of just plain crocheted buttons can be. I love it. Up next, we have Viking knits, and I'm really just going to show off here how unable I am to pronounce names correctly because I'm not sure how to say his name. I think it's Matberg. It might be Lassie or Lasse. If you know, say so in the comments, please. There are a whopping 40 patterns in this book, and you'll see when I'm flipping through it, I asked my husband to go through and add these little sticky cat tabs that we have onto the pages with his favorite knitting patterns, and they're all over the place. I'm pretty sure I had to take some of them out because there were just so many, but every time he saw a new pattern, he was like, yep, I would wear that, I would wear that, I would wear that, and he's a pretty picky guy about his style. So I guess we just found out that he is a Scandinavian sweater kind of guy. I love seeing men represent in the knitting world. This book is great because it does really have knitting patterns for men, women, and children. But like I said, I go to this because the men's patterns are just so fantastic. In fact, I plan on making them myself. If you're someone that really likes masculine silhouettes in their knitting, which I absolutely adore, this would be a great book to snag. The first pattern I want to show off is called the Power Sweater, and it's done in this fantastic 3x3 rib. And they make it in a tweed yarn, and I honestly wouldn't make it with anything else. The tweed looks amazing with the 3x3 rib because you really get to let it stand out, but you get that additional texture along with it. And it's fully giving me retired Thor if he became a fisherman in Norway. This sweater is making me wish that I picked a different one to show off because I get to make a fool of myself trying to say the name again. It is the Lass or Lassie sweater. However you say it, it's beautiful. There's a reason it's on the cover. It's done in this amazing moss stitch, and the collar is what they call a shawl. It's made with a shawl collar. This is just the perfect sweater to wear on a sunny winter day. It makes me want to read a book about boats. The last one is actually 2 patterns. It's the Saga hat and sweater, and this book actually does an excellent job of creating hats for their sweaters, and there are so many pieces that go together that are just really awesome. I especially like the Saga hat and sweater combo. It's almost preppy, and it makes me feel like I should join a sailing team. I love the texture that the color work gives, and it's still pretty simple stockinette stitch, but it looks so dimensionally and visually interesting. I just love it. Next up on the list, we have Close Knit, and I'm going to say the designer's name and I'm gonna mess it up, so bear with me. Larkebagger. I have heard it pronounced Lark, Larke, Lerk. I've heard it pronounced about 12 different ways, and every single time I've heard it, it's been different. So if somebody knows and you're watching this, please write it down in the comments as best you can and educate the rest of us. Close Knit is dripping in inspiration cover to cover, and I mean that literally. The inside cover on both the front and the back feature dozens of mirror selfies that are just amazing. Where this book really stands out is she doesn't want you to just follow her patterns and make a sweater exactly like hers. She's teaching you how to come up with your own ideas, how to gather inspiration, and how to make something tangible from that inspiration. She's giving you these amazing techniques to put into your own works. The first pattern I want to highlight are the scrappy socks because they are a vibe. She goes through how to do the duplicate stitch technique and includes charts for all the color work that you see here, but also encourages you to make your own and add whatever else you want. They kind of remind me of patches that you might see on denim jackets in like the late 80s, early 90s. The ombre t-shirt has this amazing all over technique that she explains earlier in the book that you can apply to pretty much any of the patterns, but seeing it applied on this t-shirt is just awesome. I've seen half a dozen iterations of this using the ombre technique, and they all look so cool. I would love to do this with maybe like a pink to green fade. I don't know, the color combinations that I can imagine are just way too exciting. Last up, we have the Carpe Diem sweater, and those beads are insane. She includes beads in her yarn as she's knitting, and she explains how to do that, and it looks fantastic. She also has a different iteration for this sweater where she uses a color work technique where she switches from color to color, and it's called, I believe, the Bad Idea technique. Love her naming scheme. Made with Love is just all the color everywhere. I'm so hyped to talk about this book. It is Tom Daley's knitting and crochet book, which fully makes me smile from my heart. We need more knitting and crochet combination books. There are not enough out there. Tom Daley is a gold medaling Olympic diver from Great Britain, and you should just look up images of Tom Daley knitting or crocheting at the Olympics. The book itself is divided into two parts. There is a knitting half and a crochet half. And there are lots of instructional pages with plenty of pictures. I think it's intended to get beginners more into both of the crafts. So I think if you're a knitter who wants to get more into crochet, this would be a great option. Or if you're a crocheter who wants to get more into knitting. I wish I had a better vocabulary to say the swirl vest is amazing, because it is. I am currently on a mission to fill the gaps in my knitting knowledge, and right now, one of those gaps is intarsia. I haven't done a project with intarsia yet, and I am so looking forward to it. I think this project would be an epic introduction into it. I have just ordered the yarn, and I'm so excited to knit with all the bright colors I have ever wanted to knit with. The fringe vest is so out of my comfort zone stylistically, and yet I am determined to make it and force myself to wear it out in public. Not only do I love the single color, the yellow sweater example he has here, because it's so rich in texture. Not only is there a texture to the knit stitches being used, but there's also a texture added with that fringe. And then I adore the white sweater with the different color fringe on it, and it gives me unicorn vibes. On the crochet side of things, we have the polo shirt. I personally adore the black and white color combination that they used here. I think it's really striking, and I'd love to style it as a swim cover-up and make it maybe a little bit longer, or style it with a pair of shorts and do it as cropped and try out different color combinations like white and red. I don't know. There's so many different color options. Moving on to the next title in our list, we have the only amigurumi book in today's video. I have a couple different amigurumi books, but this one just makes me smile the most. It was written by Rikki Gustafson, who has an Instagram, Crochet by Rikki, that you can check out for some awesome amigurumi inspo. I am just now realizing that I have not yet said the title of this book, so this is A Crochet World of Creepy Creatures and Cryptids. This whole video, I've been trying to be mindful not to give away any patterns when I flip through the books, but with this book, that was kind of impossible, so I'm sorry. All you're going to get to see is title pages. There are a lot of things that this book does really well that I think make it stand out from other amigurumi books, and one of those is that each of the creatures has a different body. Now, there are some that have pretty similar bodies, but a lot of them have different shapes, and I appreciate that you could take the pattern for like the Minotaur, for example, and you could turn that into a cow by just switching up some of the colors on it. I was really struggling to narrow down my list of favorites in this book to just 3, so instead of showing you my favorite amigurumi patterns in this book, I'm going to show you the ones I think would be most likely to lose in a fight and are therefore more my type. First up, we have Mothman, and I think he would be highly likely to lose in a fight because those wings are not getting that chonky body off the ground. He is way too adorable to be winning any fights. And if you take away Mothman's ability to fly, he's just a man. Up next, we have Bigfoot, and while his feet are big, his arms are small. He will not be able to land a single punch. But real quick, look at that face. I don't think he's wanting to throw any punches. This dude is clearly a pacifist who's going to refuse to fight any of the other contenders he's up against. Least likely to win in a fight, we have the Jackalope, and I hope the reasons are obvious. I honestly think this dude would be the first to die in the Hunger Games, like 10 seconds in, not even a full minute. If you're into crochet and you're into YouTube, you need to be following Toni from TL Yarn Crafts. Her channel is amazing and her book is amazing. She is the queen of Tunisian crochet, and as soon as I saw that she had a book out, I immediately snatched it up. If you haven't heard of Tunisian crochet before, don't worry, a lot of us haven't. I think it's best described as a combination of knitting and crochet, in the sense that you're using a crochet hook. However, this time, your project size is determined by the length of your hook. So they make extra long crochet hooks specifically for Tunisian crochet. Something key to keep in mind for this book is if you have never reached for a crochet hook before, don't be intimidated. I think you can easily start Tunisian crochet before you learn standard crochet. There is nothing wrong with jumping into this first. The Kensington tote bag I think is a great place to start if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, to help you sort of dip your toe into it before diving into more complex projects. The Nisa poncho I would wear all day, every day in the fall. It is on my list for next fall, and I want to make it in this like pumpkin spice orange color. It's just maximum cozy vibes all around. This last one is the Hudson throw, and I have a very specific idea in mind for this one. I am an avid movie watcher. Like, I go to the movie theater about once a week. And I haven't wanted to commit to being one of those people that brings a blanket to the movie theater, but I'm wondering why I'm not one of those people, because those people look like they're having the best time. So my plan is to make the Hudson throw specifically to bring with me to the movies, because it's the perfect size for that, is it not? We are going to finish so strong with what is the best crochet book for home decor and accessories. Molla Mills has created a vibe in a crochet book. It is stunning, and I would highly recommend this to anyone that crochets, and especially anyone that doesn't crochet and wants the motivation to get into it. This is the book you get, because there is not a single person that can flip through this book and not want to make every single item in here. I refuse to believe that those kind of people exist. All of the patterns in this book are retro, but also timeless. They're minimalistic, but bold, and the balance between all of those adjectives is just flawless. I just want to dive right into my favorite patterns, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the one that is so beautiful. I almost want it to be my phone screen background. It is the Smile bag, and just look at it. Just look at that. Do you see that? This is the kind of bag where a stranger will stop you in the grocery store and ask you where you got it, and you get to do the fun thing where you're like, actually, I made it. And you get to act all embarrassed, but secretly you're like so excited that somebody finally asked, and then they get all like, whoa, you made that? That's crazy. And then your day is just like a million times better. Next up is the Mansica pocket. And what I love about her book is she's almost encouraging you in each of these patterns to take the technique she's teaching you for that specific pattern and apply it to other ideas original to yourself. So you can totally make the pocket just like this and it'll be beautiful. But you could also go up a crochet hook size, do a different shape, incorporate the flowers in a sweater, do a larger bag. There's so many different options you can do with this flower technique. The last pattern I'm going to highlight in today's video is the Polku rug. And in Crochet Crush, there are so many different rug patterns, but this one is just the most me. And again, with her encouraging you to take the color work chart she's providing you or technique or anything and apply it to your own ideas, with the polka rug, I would love to use a smaller hook size and make it longer and have it be a runner for my dining room table. I think that would be beautiful. That was it for today's video. If you got anything out of that, like and subscribe. I mean, I don't need you to like my video. I need you to like my video.